All right, so that was actually, I really don't know how much that is. Just gonna give me a minute to count the weight here. Okay, so there's the bar, which is 21.5 kilos. Okay, so okay, so then I got a couple of 15.9 kilos. So and then I got 11.3 kilos per side. So that would be so that's 344 kilos. If you could just get a close-up, the two reds, 20.4 kilos, 15.9 kilos, and 11.3 kilos each. Now, as to why I did it the way I did it, well, you have to understand that the deadlift or the pull, it doesn't matter if it's, regular bar or if it's a trap bar or anything. It requires that you lift it from a dead position, which is why it's called the deadlift. So it's unlike the bench or the squat or just about everything else. Maybe like the clean and jerk or the snatch, where you're also going from the bottom position. It's very hard. Now, I probably couldn't have lifted it if I lifted it straight from the floor. So what I did was I cheated, essentially, by starting from the top position. Now, the only problem is, when I start from the top position, now I don't train with a partner or partners because, as you can see, well, I got my improvised boxes on either side here, some plates and this thing. I would need partners. I would need one partner on each side. And since this is not really a box, let's just say if I had actual boxes that were meant for this, then, I would lift the weight off of the higher elevation, and then they'd have to move fast, move the boxes out of the way in a big hurry so that you could preserve as much energy as you can, right? Now, since I don't have or train with partners, I had to do a farmer's walk. So although I cheated, I cheated by starting from the top position. Well, I kind of didn't cheat because in some ways it made it harder because I had to lift the weight and then slide backwards. So I'm walking backwards, you see. I'm walking like, I'm walking like this, right? I'm doing like a moonwalk in a couple of steps, 2-3 steps. I can't go like this, because the weight is just so heavy. You see, you understand the language I'm talking here? I can't go like that. It's just impossible. So I had to slide, like a backslide, like a moonwalk almost, right? until I cleared the box. Of course, I don't have eyes in this back of my head or even on the sides of my head, so I couldn't actually know for sure if I cleared the box or not. I could have hit the box, or these improvised boxes that I have over here. You see what I'm talking about? So there was no way that I could actually know for sure. So in a way, I mean, it's easier. I cheated because I started from the top, you know. Which brings me to my next point, actually. You know, like the deadlift record, I think, is about 500 kilos now on a regular bar. And I don't know if they can get any higher than that. They might not be able to. I predict that in order to get higher than that, they're probably going to have to do something similar to what I'm doing here. Of course, this is just a humble 344 kilos. And plus, I'm cheating also because I'm using a higher handle, as you can see, right? So, because of that, it affords me a little bit of, it gives me a little bit of, extra, that distance. I don't have to go down as far. But, because I also had to clear the box. I had to clear this area, so that I could, to make it possible for me to lift this weight. Because I've actually lifted this weight from the floor before, but I used to weigh a lot more and I was a lot bigger. And, one of the things about losing some weight is that, I don't know about anybody else, but I tend to throw out the muscle with the fat. And so that's the reason why, I guess everybody would experience that. They would just simply not be as strong as they used to be if they were at a heavier, bigger weight. So what I did here, yeah, and I predicted if they were going to get higher than 500 kilos, like a 600 kilo deadlift or something ridiculous like that, I think would probably have to be done. And not the way I'm doing it. I have to walk the weight, which that's why I was, a bit out of breath. It feels like you ran a few kilometers, because essentially I did, but except it's all condensed. You understand? You understand the language I'm talking here? It's condensed. It's not like you're taking a few kilometer jog, which, would be very hard for me. And I've condensed it to a few seconds of intense effort, short, rapid, intense effort. Now, by starting at the top, I'm doing two things. First of all, you create that tension in the muscles, when you're going down. It's kind of like a spring, I suppose, and you're compressing a spring, and there's energy there, and I don't really know. I mean, there's the people that are smarter than me would be able to explain it better, like all the eggheads and the Mr. Wizard types would be able to explain the science behind it. But as I understand it, you got this tension, this energy there. You don't have normally if you were just to lift it from the very bottom. Okay? Regardless of whether or not you have a high handle or a low handle, you see, or if it was down here. Okay? You understand what I'm talking about. So it wouldn't matter, right? It would still relatively be close to the bottom. And so there's a lot more energy in that way. Now the other thing, two of these weights are rubber, or they're the bouncy kind, and the rest of them are steel. Now, of course, if they were all rubber, I would guess. Now, of course, this floor is not, is not the right kind of floor. I mean, it's probably not good for the floor, what I just did there. But, I mean, if it was an actual weightlifting platform, and the weights were rubber, and you had one spotter on each side, and they quickly moved the boxes, the actual boxes, not the makeshift boxes I'm using here, because then they would still have to remove all of these plates, and they would have to do it in very short order, very fast, right? So, in order to do that, well, I mean, it probably would not probably would not be any more longer than me having to backslide, do a little moonwalk backwards so that I can clear the box, okay? But now just imagine if you had like a springboard at the bottom, okay? If you had a springboard on both sides. So then, with all these things, these methods of cheating, now you can call them cheating, or you could call them methods of maximization. It's all just language, semantics, right? Now, if you had springboards, like, the stuff that, the gymnastics people, and they jump onto that board and it makes them jump higher. Well, anyways, if you had that on either side, some guy juiced up on roids, growth hormone, lifting suit, starting from the top, starting and having those like springboard at the bottom, you could probably go 700 kilos. I don't know. I think that the limits of human strength, I thought it was just me reaching my limits. I guess it's everybody. They limits of strength are being reached. And the only other way, I think, to overcome them is by using little tricks like this. Little tricks, the kind of tricks I'm using over here. So I'll probably be talking more about tricks and what people are using, not just the drugs, but just, methods that help you lift a little bit more. I'll be talking about that in some of the other videos.